There are nights on the NHL calendar where the matchups feel bigger than the standings, bigger than the numbers, and bigger than the early season jitters that usually define November hockey. Tonight is one of those nights. 4 games, 8 picks, and a slate loaded with pressure, identity, and teams fighting to prove exactly who they are right now. Welcome back to Beyond the Box Score, where every breakdown is built to give you the clearest edge before the puck drops. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a daily prediction. What you're about to hear is everything you need: numbers, momentum, matchup dynamics, and the story behind each game. Now let's step into the first matchup, where desperation and momentum collide under the lights in Buffalo. The Chicago Blackhawks walk into KeyBank Center at the 4th of May 10, rising steadily behind a young core that's maturing faster than expected. They've built a confident identity, one that blends pace, structure, and a top line that has been rewriting the league's early narrative. The Buffalo Sabres stand on the other side at 7-9-4, bruised by inconsistency but still dangerous enough to punish mistakes if opponents aren't locked in from the opening faceoff. It's a matchup between a team climbing and a team clawing, and both know how crucial this night could be. Chicago's world revolves around Connor Bedard. At just 19 years old, he's shredding defensive schemes with 29 points in 19 games, a ruthless mix of 13 goals, 16 assists, and 65 shots that come off his stick like they know exactly where they belong. Burakovsky, Bertuzzi, and Teravainen round out a top 6 that hums with balance, timing, and layers that keep defenders spinning. On the back end, Grzelcyk plus 11 anchors a group that thrives in transition, while Craver adds the physical bite that forces opponents to rush plays they shouldn't rush. Buffalo counters with its own heartbeat. Tage Thompson, a force of size, release, and scoring gravity. His 10 goals and 18 points demand attention, while Alex Tuch gives him the outlet he needs to keep defenses honest. Rasmus Dahlin, logging over 24 minutes a night, remains the engine that drives everything Buffalo does, a quarterback who controls pace, entries, and breakouts with the kind of poise few defenders can match. But the depth behind them drops off sharply, and the minus ratings sprinkled across the lineup tell the story of a roster still trying to tighten leaks in its structure. The numbers sharpen the contrast. Chicago scores 3.37 goals per game and allows just 2.53, backed by an 84.3% penalty kill. Buffalo sits at 2.85 goals per game while surrendering 3.55, surviving with a strong penalty kill but struggling mightily on the power play. And when you zoom into recent form, momentum isn't just leaning toward Chicago, it's sprinting. 4 wins in their last 5. Calgary, Toronto, Detroit, Calgary again. Their only stumble was a tight overtime loss to New Jersey. Buffalo, meanwhile, has lived in chaos: a blowout loss, a big win, an overtime escape, and then back-to-back defeats where defensive breakdowns turned close games into runaway losses. The storyline between the pipes tells the same tale. Spencer Knight has been outstanding for Chicago with a .924 save percentage, and Soderblom has filled his role with calm consistency. Buffalo's goaltending, whether it's Leone, Ellis, or UPL, has flashes but not stability. And stability is what this game will demand. After breaking down all the layers, the first pick leans toward the Buffalo Sabres winning, but the momentum, scoring profiles, and defensive gaps set the stage for a game that should open up on the scoreboard. The second pick is the total over 5.5, a number both teams are fully capable of pushing past when their top lines find rhythm. From Buffalo, the scene shifts to Pittsburgh, where the Minnesota Wild and the Penguins meet in a matchup that feels like two teams trying to solve themselves before the calendar flips into deeper waters. Minnesota arrives at the 4th of July 10, grinding, defending, and pushing through a stretch where every game has been a test of structure. Pittsburgh, the 4th of May 10, has been explosive at times but inconsistent in the small moments, and with a Metro Division fight tightening every night, they need a statement just as badly. Minnesota's identity is built around discipline and depth. Kirill Kaprizov, with 24 points and 73 shots, continues to be one of the league's most dynamic offensive forces. Matt Boldy, Johansson, Eriksson Ek, and Rossi are part of a top six that may not always flash, but rarely wastes opportunities. Defensively, Middleton, Faber, and Brodin hold the line with grit and intelligence, creating a defensive tone that Minnesota relies on every time a game tightens. Pittsburgh brings more raw firepower. Malkin's 23 points and Crosby's 12 goals anchor one of the most lethal veteran duos in the league. Anthony Mantha brings size and finish, Rust adds transition speed, and Erik Karlsson remains the conductor of a power play operating at an absurd 34.1%. Defensively, they are not punishing, but they move the puck with speed and clarity, a style that forces opponents to adjust or fall behind early. Both teams enter this matchup riding opposite waves. Minnesota has found a spark with wins over Carolina, Vegas, Anaheim, and Calgary, stalling only against San Jose. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, has stumbled through a stretch of overtime losses, one-goal slips, and late-game breakdowns that have drained their early season shine. The goalies only add to the volatility. Gustafsson, Wallstedt, Silovs, and Jerry all bring talent, unpredictability, and the ability to swing momentum with a single save or a single mistake. After analyzing the matchup, the first pick leans toward the Minnesota Wild winning, powered by momentum and execution. However, the Penguins' firepower and Minnesota's vulnerabilities on the penalty kill set the tone for a matchup that should push goals on both ends. The second pick is the total over 5.5. From Pittsburgh, we head to Winnipeg, where Carolina and the Jets collide in a matchup that looks less like a November game and more like a playoff preview. Carolina sits at the 2nd of May 13, leading the Metro with layered speed and relentless pressure. Winnipeg, at 1-2-7-0, is chasing the elite of the Central and finding confidence with every passing night. Carolina's attack hums through balance. Aho's 19 points set the pace, Jarvis continues to score in big moments, Gostisbehere's puck movement remains electric, and Nikishin's plus 14 provides the defensive anchor that allows the forwards to attack in waves. The Hurricanes average 3.60 goals per game, limit shots, and punish mistakes with a 25% power play that can tilt an entire period. Winnipeg answers with one of the most dangerous top lines in the league. Mark Schiefel's 27 points in 19 games, Kyle Connor's shooting efficiency, and Josh Morrissey's elite transition play form a trio that can flip a game in a single rotation. Their penalty kill hovers at 84.3%, a potential equalizer against Carolina's power play. And while Carolina has slipped to 2-3 in their last 5, Winnipeg has surged with a stretch of composed, confident victories. The goaltending battle might define the night. Anderson, Kochetkov, and Bussey have combined for steady numbers for Carolina, but Winnipeg's tandem of Hellebuck and Comrie brings a level of reliability and poise that most teams can't match. After breaking down all factors, the prediction leans toward the Carolina Hurricanes winning, with the second pick being the total over 5.5 in what projects to be a fast, high-event showdown. Finally, the night shifts to Los Angeles, where the Bruins and the Kings are preparing for a matchup that feels like a crossroads for both teams. Boston arrives at 1-2-1-0-0, trying to keep pace with Detroit and searching for consistency in their late-game execution. At the 4th of June 10, is anchored by defense and looking to build momentum in the Pacific. Boston brings scoring power with Pasternak's 27 points and Geeky's stunning 14-goal surge. McAvoy's all-situations brilliance and Lindholm's workload shape their defensive core, while their offense continues to produce even in losses. LA counters with Kemp's 19 points, Fiala's dangerous shot volume, and a defensive structure that absorbs pressure and counters efficiently. The real contrast lies in goal. Swayman's athletic brilliance gives Boston hope, but Law's tandem, particularly Quemper with a 2.42 GAA, offers stability that fits perfectly with their low-event, disciplined style. The Kings have won with grinding effort and defensive clarity, and at home, they're positioned well to exploit Boston's recent lapses. After assessing every detail, the first pick leans toward the Los Angeles Kings winning, backed by defensive structure and steadier goaltending. The second pick is the total over 5, a number shaped by Law's defensive tendencies and Boston's recent form. If you found value in this breakdown and want more daily predictions built with real insight and real detail, make sure you tap that subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment with the next games you want covered. Your support keeps the channel growing, and I'll be right here every day with fresh analysis to help you stay ahead of the curve. Thanks for watching Beyond the Box Score, and I'll see you in the next one.